session like this. So this is going to be a little interesting, but my name is Nick Murja, and I teach business at Paladuro High School in Amarillo, Texas. So during this time, feel free to go ahead and unmute your mic, and you can also ask me questions just in the chat window, and I'll try to answer them as we go, but we can also, I think we left time to be able to answer questions at the end too. So I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. I think you guys will maybe be able to see a chat box possibly, or I'm sorry, my face if you try. Can you guys see the? Okay, cool. So I didn't come up with this title here, but the title of this is supposed to be, it's your life. You have decisions to make, lifestyle, money management, responsibility, but we only have 20 minutes. And so we're just going to narrow these down, these choices, because we couldn't cover everything in just 20 minutes. So here we go. Do you guys remember the year 2000? No, not at all.
Why would it mean?
Okay, so the year 2000, 21 years ago.
What up, homies?
Flip phones had just come out.
Is Leah on here?
Hey, if you guys could mute, we can hear you. Flip phones had just come out. They thought that the world was going to end in the year 2000 because they didn't think computers could manage having another digit. Britney Spears was the love of every high school guy's life. And the PS2 was the brand new console. But more importantly than all that, I was graduating high school. That's me right there, not a real flattering picture, I guess. So although the world has changed, it's a different place. Being 18 is one of the most exciting times in your life, but it's also one of the most stressful. You've spent 18 years preparing for what's going to happen next, and you've had somebody telling you when to get up, somebody telling you when to go to bed, somebody telling you when to do your homework, and maybe even you had somebody helping you with your laundry. But in a couple months, that's all going to change. So let me ask really quick, and you guys can just type there in the chat box, what are the decisions that you guys are wrestling with right now? And if you want to unmute, you totally can. Death? Which college? Which college? Lots of which college questions. Money? Okay, how are you going to pay for it? Definitely. All right, so I realize that you have a million decisions to make, guys. And so today what I want to do is to help you make all of those decisions. We're going to have them figured out by the time we leave here. I don't have all the answers, but what I can do is show you guys how to ask the right questions. So last week during a Young Investors Society meeting, one of my seniors asked me if he should major in finance or engineering. How he looked at it was this. He's good at math. He's interning at an engineering firm, but he's also interested in investing in stocks. So finance made sense too. And I think this is a question that most of you guys may be struggling with, what you're going to major in. And it's a tough one. How many majors, undergraduate majors, would you guys say the average college has to choose between? 500? That may be a little much. 200, 700, 6? Okay. So Division I colleges offer about 120 different majors. But if you look this up online, throughout the nation, you can choose between 219,000 different programs. So how are you going to choose? Are you going to look at the job outlook? What's going to make you the most money? Are you going to try to figure out what your parents want you to do? Well, if you don't already, what I want you to do is go ahead and grab a piece of paper and something to write with, because you guys are going to spend some time figuring out these big decisions. So grab those real quick. All right, give me a thumbs up when you got a piece of paper and a pencil. Awesome. Mary Sue, got you. Carolyn. Olivia with the virtual thumb. All right, cool. So the good news is that the answers to all these questions are much more clear than you may think, because the decisions that you make should be based on facts and not based on your feelings. But there's a lot of facts. So what facts should we be looking at? I would argue that the most important facts that you need to investigate before making any decision is you've got to know your values. Roy Disney, who's the brother of Walt Disney and the co-founder of the Walt Disney Corporation, said that it's not hard to make decisions once you know what your values are. Essentially, values are the Google map for your trip through life. There's a million ways to get to your end goal, but your values provide you directions based on what is fulfilling. If you follow them, you'll never regret your choices. But if you ignore them, you may be successful, but you're never going to be happy. So what are values? What does that term values mean? Go ahead and unmute or tell me in the chat box.
Yo.
Character,
Pleasure,
okay.
wealth, determination,
Job security.
success, and spirituality. Spirituality.
Okay. Hey, they're on the screen. Good job. You guys are geniuses. Okay, so values are the things that you believe are important to the way that you're going to live. And they seem really obvious at first, but the problem with this is that, like scarcity in economics, you can't have everything you want. You're going to have to prioritize which values are most important, in the same way that when you go to buy certain things, you're going to have to prioritize the items that you want to buy, because you don't have unlimited money. So I want you to take a look at this list of values. There's 30 of them here. But what I want you to do is to use your paper and write down the top 5 values that you want to base your life on. So go ahead and make a list, 1 through 5. Which ones are the top 5 that you're going to base your life on? Now, while you're figuring those out, oh, you got a question? Nope. Okay. While you're figuring those out, I want to talk to you about what makes prioritizing tough. I think that most of you are going to agree with me that family is important. But are there things that you're willing to prioritize over those family values? Let's say that you have an opportunity to get a job that's going to pay $1 million a year, but you're going to have to work 80 hours a week, which doesn't leave much time for your family. The question then becomes, is your career or the work that you're doing a higher priority over your family? And this is where the work of prioritizing comes in. When you have to choose between 2 values that are important to you. Or how about this one? This is probably more close to home because it's what you're doing right now. What if your top values are education and financial stability, but you have an opportunity to go to an Ivy League college that's going to cost you close to $1 million for the degree? That makes sense if your future career is going to justify the cost. But what if you're going to be a teacher? What do you prioritize more then? Your education or your financial stability? So hopefully you guys got your top 5. If not, hopefully you got at least a couple or 3. Now that you've narrowed down to that top 5, let's take it a step further and we'll get rid of those 2 important values. And I want you to only pick 3 values. Your top 3. The easiest way to do this is to put each value side by side and determine which is more important. So here I'm evaluating certainty and security, security and peace, security and financial stability. So each time I'm going to ask myself, which is more important, certainty or security, security or peace, security or financial stability. And at the end, you're going to have your top 3. Now, while you guys are doing that, let me let you know that I've linked the online values assessment into the breakout session description, and you can just click on that, and it has a full list of like 100 different values, and it's going to guide you through picking out your top 3. Unfortunately, we don't have the time to go over all those. So I hope this gets you started, but you're going to need to look at the website to finish.
District meeting this morning, we had a complaint about that no one's done the wiggle up.
Excuse me, Mr. Nicholas, can you post the link again?
Let me see if I've still got it here. Nope. Hold on. It's in, let me pull it for you. Okay. It's posted in there. I think it actually says that it goes to, oh, let me send it to everyone. Here we go. All right, there you go. So don't use this link now because it's going to take you probably 20, 25 minutes to go through it all. But I would suggest that after we get through, you go through it. All right, so go ahead and put your pencils down. You've got that. And give me your eyes really quick because I want to tell you something really important. What I want you to know is that there's absolutely no right or wrong answer here when it comes to your values. There is nothing wrong with wanting to be wealthy, and there's nothing wrong with prioritizing a career over a family. There's nothing wrong with wanting peace over everything. Whatever you choose, there's nothing wrong with that. The only right answer here is that whatever values truly reflect what's important to you. So now that you've got your top 3 values, it's time to decide what they mean for your life. So what are the majors that you're thinking about, and what direction do your values lead you? Now you can go ahead and think about this with what college you're going to go to or any other decision you're going to make. But hypothetically, what I'm going to look at is how would you choose a major based on your values? So let's say that your values are peace, financial stability, and certainty. And you're trying to choose between entrepreneurship and engineering. For you guys, if you were trying to make this decision, what sticks out to you first? How would you go about looking at these values and decide between these 2 majors? Anybody? Okay. Jose, why would engineering offer more stability and financial security? Emily?
They're necessary.
It's what?
It's necessary.
Okay, it's necessary. So entrepreneurs are not necessary?
Yes.
They are.
As an entrepreneur, your idea must be successful, and then you won't know until after you present it.
Okay, so if somebody is looking at
What if you double major?
if you double major, then you just make sure both of your values are going to fit that, you know? So I agree with what they said. What sticks out to me the most is the stress from being an entrepreneur. I grew up with a family of entrepreneurs, and it's stressful because you never know what's going to work. The world does require entrepreneurs, though, for innovation and for jobs. So entrepreneurship is really, really important. But when you think about your values, they have to match that. What about engineering? Engineering requires a master's degree, and the course load is probably really, really stressful. But once you're done, because of that master's degree, there's going to be fewer job candidates. So you're going to have more job security, and it's probably going to be more financially stable. You're going to start off and you're going to be getting paid a lot more to start with than you would as an entrepreneur. Figuring out which one matches your values is still going to take some investigating. And this is purely a hypothetical. And even after you know your values, you'll still need to learn as much as you can about your majors, consider your personality traits and your abilities. And if you're still having trouble, give it some time to reflect. Think about the implications of your choices. Talk to people in the field, work an unpaid internship, but filter all of this information with your values. So what do your values say about the other choices you're going to have to make in your life? Where you're going to live, what type of person you should marry, how will you spend your free time? Each time that you make those choices, you need to go back to your values and make sure that the decisions you make support them. The good thing is that you're all capable humans. And when you're making a decision that doesn't feel right, you'll know it. The hard part is forcing yourself to end something that you like that isn't aligned with those values. And you're going to make bad choices, but even when you do, it's important to correct them as soon as possible so that you can get back on track. I realize it's going to take some time to pick between all the different values and prioritize them, but let me tell you why it's worth it. I'm going to tell you a story about me. You guys ready? This is a better picture. All right, so that's me, my first year in the Army, and this is my little girl, that's Kate, that's now 15. So I graduated from college with a degree in business education, which honestly fits me really, really, really well, but I didn't have a plan. And truthfully, I thought I'd just do like most people and fall into something. There really was no intentionality in anything that I was doing. So 2 months after I graduated, I went to breakfast with an Army veteran. And because I had no direction, I decided to sign up that day. The only real thought was that my wife was pregnant and I didn't have any insurance. 2 weeks later, with a pregnant wife and a really confused family, I was in basic training. Now, although I'm proud of the 8 years I served in the Army, the military life for me ran contrary to my values. My values are peace and stability and family. The Army is extremely stressful and hard on any family. There was rarely a moment of peace and definitely no stability. And at times I was really successful, but overall I hated the job I chose and I wasn't fulfilled. So after 8 years of going against my beliefs, I transformed into a completely different person. I was angry, I was difficult, and I was unhappy. When your life feels off, You're more stressed than you should be. You're unhappy even though things are going well. Odds are that you're living a life that's contrary to your values. And if you did like me and never took the time to figure them out, that's a really easy place to fall into. I lived like that for 8 years, and it took its toll on me, and it's a toll that's going to affect me for the rest of my life. What I wish I could do is go back and tell the 18-year-old me, write down your values, write down what your life should look like based on those values, make all your decisions based on that, and if you can't, figure out how to do it anyhow. Because what you don't want to do is look back in 10 years like I did and wish you'd done it differently. Because again, if you live a life that's contrary or conflicts with your values, then you'll never be happy. Now, if I've convinced you to base your life off of your values, then good. But let me prepare you for what's next, because it's not always easy even when you've got your priorities straight. Prioritizing what is right over what is easy is one of the true challenges of life. It means that you may have to pass on a better paying job at some point. It may mean that you have to end a romantic relationship or even friendships. There will be tears, there will be frustrations, but as an adult, you'll be required to make the tough decisions that are simply the right things to do. Has anybody heard of Viktor Frankl? Any of you guys read that maybe in a psychology class? No? You look through. All right. So, German psychologist Viktor Frankl married the love of his life in 1941. Less than 9 months later, they were separated into different German concentration camps. Over the next 3 years, Frankl did everything that he could to survive because he wanted to get back to Tilly. In his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl said that there are 3 types of people in the camps. The first gave up and just quickly died. The second seemed to go numb. They were alive, but they were dead inside. The third group, which he was a part of, not only survived, but seemed happy at times. Now, how could someone enduring one of the most horrific war crimes in history be happy? Frankl explained that, like him, those people all had something to keep them going. They had a why to live. He said in one of my favorite quotes, "Those who have a why to live can bear with almost any how." Now, surely nothing you will face will come close to what Frankl went through. But that doesn't mean that life won't seem unbearable at times. And making difficult choices that align with your values instead of just doing what is easy will add to the stress. But when you discover your values, you know your why. You're going to choose a college that fits your budget or offers the program that you need, not just go to the one that your best friend or your girlfriend goes to. You're going to live in that crappy apartment instead of racking up tons of student debt. You're going to break up with that crazy girl that you meet at freshman orientation because she's super cool, but she won't let you get your work done. You're going to study while others are partying, and you're going to volunteer at a shelter while everyone else is on spring break in Cancun. And you're going to live according to your values instead of taking the easy road, because your values make up the core of the most precious part of you. And you, my friends, are worth that struggle. I hope this offers you guys some direction for making those big choices you have in front of you. Let your core values guide you, and you'll never regret it, even through the struggles. All right, guys, that's what I got. If you have questions, you can unmute and ask me. You're welcome to type in the chat box too. We've got about 4 minutes. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you got something out of it.
Yeah, because we joined like right.
Thank you guys.
I have a question.
Sure.
So what's your major?
So I actually started off in business and then I changed to business education. I got a master's degree in business administration and I started a master's degree in finance and economics last year.
So like you have multiple majors?
So I had, when you get your bachelor's, I got a degree in business and then I went back to school, and a master's degree is going to offer you about 40 more hours of specialization. When you're getting your bachelor's, you're going to go through 2.5 years of general ed. So you're going to take art history and sociology, psychology, and then you only get about 2 years of specialization. So it's going to be your 300-400 level courses. When you get your master's, you're going to take 500, 600 level courses. So it's going to be a lot more difficult. And you'll learn a lot more specialized education with whatever you choose. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much for answering.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, folks, I guess that's it. I got no other questions. So I hope you guys have a good rest of the conference. I'm going to get my students back in here and teach a class.
Bye.
Take care.
Have a great